Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We're on episode 362. I just finished uploading 361 and I am continuing on with my day, having a nice relaxing weekend. We will see if Lucky decides to join us for any reason. Since I'm having a nice relaxed day, here is my tea, and let's see if I can show you. It is actually a artsy cat cup, colored like my cat. He is a Russian blue, but he's in essence gray. I did review the video and thought, oh, I'll just leave in the footage of him coming and visiting me. I didn't think it was too offensive. And he was very quiet. He's way noisier for Dad than for me. They interact verbally. Lucky and I just exist together in my craft space. He only gets talkative if he needs something, you know, like food. Mostly food or play. He likes to play. I have to grab my pencils because I logged my numbers. This is probably going to be done in a couple of chunks. You'll see me coming and going because I have a phone call to make here in a little bit, but I wanted to make the best use of time. Okay, so we might have to go upside down. You can see that the bottom water is more complete than the top, so yep, I'm gonna flip it around and we are gonna start working on darkening and softening. As I mentioned in the previous episode, I have to tilt everything for comfort. I am left-handed, and so I'm gonna start with I did already put some gray here in this corner. And so I will start here and continue on. These edges are really hard to get to, I've noticed. My mom finally decided a computer. I had to run over there. That's what that phone call was. She had narrowed it down from a selection that Hub and I had sent off. So we're going to move over to this side. And so she decided, pulled the trigger. I did put in the description that feel free to speed this up. I would rather have it be, because the speed is so easy to control. I do have, you know, hints and tips so you can kind of go through, pick out the tidbits that you want. But the nice thing is you can speed up and slow down as you need, and everybody has a different way of processing, so I leave that up to you guys. This is pretty soft pressure, but notice I am way closer to the tip this time around because I will be wanting to not have it take forever. And this is going to be the more difficult side with the ring holes here. and everything will be softened when I take either the colorless blender or the 10% cool gray. Shifting to the indigo, I just finished with the 90% cool gray. Thank you for joining me for yet another installment of Fred. We are getting very close to finished with him. And welcome back if you are returning. I was doing some surfing, as I always do, and I see that we're in space timber. So it would be fun if I could find a space theme image to color. So I will be looking for something like that. I may see if my small selection of, I call them the pink dot books because they are the 6 that I have bought this year new. I'm not sure if any of them have a possibility of a space theme. But I will check it out. I know I have older books that have spaceships in them, and so I could resort to one of those. I need to do a calendar and do some research and log what months, Mermay, Space Timber, etc. Just to help me with prompts of what to color. And also for my group to help expand their horizons. I have one summer year-round resident who comes, and she's just like, I do flowers. She's open to doing other things, but she's only comfortable on her own coloring floral projects. I don't know whether I want to, how much actual color I want to present to all of these little fishes and turtles. They're very far away, and so it's possible that it won't make sense to actually color them. I've got all of this. So I could see myself saying that homework could be carefully coloring in between each of these mushroom disc notches. But we'll see. I am now starting to introduce some loose, sketchy current formations based on my circles that I already did, my scrumbling from the first layer. I will use those existing heavier lines to create. It's the same way that I use to do fur. I like to do very sketchy lines and then kind of let it, rather than trying to draw exactly what you see in a photograph, every single hair of an animal, is to just kind of let it flow more naturally. So I am trying that technique right now, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to keep working this corner. The other corner was the darker corner, and now it is no longer the darker corner. I'm doing medium pressure now, just slowly adding more and more pressure. This is how far away my hand has been. Alright, so that is that side. Emphasizing some of these dark lines. Now I'm going to start moving what that looks like. Moving across now. Playing around with the shadows around the jellyfish and these little angelfish. They're very far away. adding in some wavy current lines. And now let's work on this corner. I do have this squarish line from an indentation at some point in the past with this book. Could have been my indentation. Since it's used, it might not have been me. Still light pressure. Try to get some shadows behind the fishies. Make the tinier ones darker, less distinct. And I'm looking at this upside down, so I have to remember the shadow is on top for me. I will flip it around for you guys. I have this table now that I was given, so I can get up and walk away. Lucky is now old enough that I can, for the most part, leave this. I can set it aside. I have a file folder for it, so it can go inside the file folder and I can walk away and come back to it. I am varying up my day for the whole weekend, just doing little odds and ends. Trying to get the outermost edges the darkest. I'm stepping back here, taking a look, and need to go darker, 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 darker. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and commit and start in the corner over here. And start to soften. Pretty far back. Not going with light pressure though, maybe light to medium. Big circles. like it. So let's just keep marching down the wall here. I think timing is going pretty well. I'm optimistic that if we go a little bit long, we will still be able to get all of this background and some of the accents that I have on top of the water accents that I put on the ground floor, the sea life. I didn't do any on Fred's turtle shell because that is acrylic, but I did put some on Fred, some watercolors. So we'll be able to work on that too, I believe. Still working on the softer surface of the tablecloth, and that is still working well for me. I have clipboards nearby if I do want to switch to a harder surface. As I approach the linguo areas, I will be trying to be careful not to scratch them at all. I may at some point need to sharpen my point. It is quite dull now. I am manipulating the little current waves as I go, using harder pressure when I see a curve that I like. I just add more pressure to it. Kind of keeping the coloring off of the fish that are more detailed and are closer up. Look how dull the tip is. rotate it a little bit here. Being very careful, don't want to hurt my acrylic paint finishes there. Moving back this way toward me. Adding in some soft current lines here. Alright, let's see what we can do over here. Alright, I'm a good stopping point and I have my phone call to make, but I will be back in a flash for you guys. I'm gonna have to sharpen that. So that's where we're at right now. Look at that. It's so dull. That's alright. You're just smushing the blue and gray into the paper. Alright, my phone call is done. I am going to press on here. I had to regroup everything. So I am going to be in this corner. I wanted to try to get things smoothed out a little more. This is where I could switch to using the colorless blender. I see some tooth here that I'd like to have gone. I don't mind some variation in the tooth, but this corner looked awfully bumpy to me. When I came back to it, We finally have cooler days. I don't know how the weather is for wherever you are at in the world, but we've been in the 70s today. I think it was 73. I went to the pool in the AM yesterday. Our class is at 10, and I needed a hoodie. I froze going there and coming back. In fact, I wrapped up in the towel going back because I was so cold. So I am definitely acclimatized to warmer weather. I am going to sharpen this. I can see the gloss through the lens. Now I don't see it at my angle. So we do have, and I've actually not seen a lot of wax bloom but I don't use Prismas a lot. So we will see this page will be a candidate to get the wax bloom. But I know that you can just take a paper towel and wipe that off. I also saw a little bit of gloss. I think, there you go. That is the Linguo. But it actually, that's so funny. Look at that glossy. When you don't have light directly shining on them, they are a matte finish. So if you've been seeing that shine, that isn't really how they look in real life. So there's hours and hours of fussing that can happen here, but I am trying to proceed, and I think overall I've got the majority of the tone. Now let's work on this side and try to smooth this side out as well. Get this tooth gone, and then I'm going to flip it around, and we're going to work on Fred, the water elements. We do have this indentation from wherever my book was indented, because I don't feel anything underneath the tablecloth that would be causing that. So what I didn't do, that I did on the bottom, I'm looking at it like at an angle. You can't see the whole thing. I did have that teal color. One of the colors is aquamarine, and then there's the light aqua, and I've done none of that up here. I've kept it just the blue, mainly because I don't want it to fight with the bright, vibrant colors on Fred's turtleback. That's the focus, so I decided I needed to keep things more muted up here than I had originally intended. So that was a change of plan. I've got a tendril here that needs, in between a tendril, a shadow. I'm looking at this upside down. I hope I get these right. So like I said, there is some more subtle work that I can do that I don't think would affect it. It'll make it look cleaner and more finished, but this is the overall look I'm after, and we will have a look at it in a minute. Yeah, there's a lot of smoothing, so I'm trying to give it an overall more smooth appearance. Do you see that? I don't think you can see the waxy buildup I'm seeing. But you'll have to look at it in a certain light and you won't see the waxiness. Pigment upon pigment upon pigment is what we've got going here. All right, now oh, look at how dark that went. I had mentioned I didn't know if we could get to quickly doing the fish finishing touches or not. Okay, I'm going to flip, so at some point I will have to do a little splicing. That could be smooth. Let's do a little smoothing. We haven't done, there's this weird patchiness here. So there's blue. Yeah, so you can just really manipulate all these little lines and eddies and just making it look as naturally watery as possible when it is, all it is colored pencil. All right, I have to just stop because this is an ongoing process. So let me flip it around. Okay, so now down here at the bottom, I want to do a little shading. This actually needed some shading. It's been begging for me to fix it. And then I have colorless blender. I don't really want any gray on Fred. So Fred has these bits of the color of the water. Now, let's see if we've got Lucky is up. I'm gonna let him out. I have my blast doors closed. I made these very straight. Since then, at the top, I've got more ebb and flow in the distance, so there's some movement. But I think for Fred, I am okay with the watery look being straight lines. No, that's Lucky scratching on his little scratcher like a good cat. I had also mentioned that it's possible I would want to go with more gray in this section, but I'm going to hold on that because now I've been away from it and it doesn't look too bad. I can decide after I get the fish colored, which, like I said, I'll probably do a little brainstorming on fish, do some samples for myself. I have not colored the fish at all. And then I will come back, and that should be our last and final episode. Hi. He's wanting to come up, I can tell. All right, folks, I think that's all we're going to do. We've got Lucky coming to visit, and I'm going to try to guess what color. Cobalt turquoise maybe was what I put on Fred, and let's add a little more on his head. I don't really want to mess with the sea life on his back. Okay, so just a little bit more there. And now to soften them. Let me know what you've done. If you colored this years and years ago, how did you deal with all of the water? Did you make the background black? That was one other option, but I couldn't cheat and do that. That would have been too easy because the cover of the book has it in black. These might be kind of bright at this point, right here. So, let's see if I can lighten them up. Maybe there's just too many of them. Think of the eraser as just like another tool. It is totally okay to erase. Yeah, see, I didn't like that dark. And the eraser takes that right off. Have to be careful because the Prisma will smear. I do have a brush right here. I should be good. Okay, folks, I'm gonna back up now. All right, so there is Fred without any fishes done. I even toyed with not coloring the fish, but I have to color the fish. It looks like an unfinished picture to me. All right, so thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for yet another episode of Fred and Coloring Water. I appreciate your patience. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, consider subscribing, and the next time you see me, we will be coloring these fish, maybe doing a couple of last-minute final edits, and then we're going to call Fred finished. Everyone take care. I'll see you then.